like wrestling? What are you, 12? Don't you know all that stuff is fake?
Is a conversation we've all had to have in our time. While it'd be great just to take your fist and ram it into this idiot's face, that's not cool. So we have to find other ways and means to get around it. The best approach, as with most obstacles in life, is education. For you see, morons like the one demonstrated at the start of this video just don't understand the art of professional wrestling. They need to be taught and nurtured, so they too can start to realise why such entertainment is the sport of kings. Unfortunately, whacking on Steamboat vs Flair is just going to be lost on them. So do what always works. Start with violence and then work backwards. I'm Simon from WhatCulture, and this is 10 brutal wrestling moments to show non-fans. Number 10. The Undertaker at WrestleMania 25. You can kill two birds with one stone here, as not only is Shawn Michaels vs The Undertaker from Mania 25 a 5-star classic, but it also contains a spot where Mark Calloway legitimately could have died. If there's one thing we all know to try and avoid in this life, it's landing on your head. Unless you've got a neck like Brock Lesnar, it's probably not going to end well, so prevention is your best tactic. The dead man didn't heed this advice, as halfway through the match he awe-inspiringly flew over the top rope with an incredible dive, only to land straight on his noggin. Admittedly, it wasn't his fault. Sim Snooker, disguised as a cameraman, was supposed to catch him, but the impact is hard to watch. With that said, it does make the whole thing even more spectacular, and will grab the attention of even the most hardened non-fan. Number 9. Brock Lesnar at Extreme Rules 2012. Do you know why Brock Lesnar is so good? It's because nearly everything he does seems legit. This was especially true in his comeback match with John Cena at Extreme Rules 2012. Deep into the WWE's re-emergence as a PG company, the Beast came back and threw all that nonsense out the window. Aside from now being a bona fide celebrity, meaning you can convince a UFC fan to watch this for example, the two beat the shit out of each other, reintroducing a level of violence we hadn't seen in years. It got so intense that there was blood everywhere by the end of it. This wasn't from the edge of a blade either, this was hard-way blood. It's guaranteed to get anyone's attention. Number 8. Vader and Cactus Jack. Brutality doesn't age, and seeing Vader genuinely beat the crap out of Cactus Jack in WCW is as insane to watch today as it was back in 1993. Power bombs on a concrete floor, blows that wouldn't be out of place in a boxing ring, unrelenting weapon shots. Foley often walked away injured just because of how vicious the two would be when going at it. If you ever want to try and prove to someone that wrestling can be very real when it wants, this is your go-to. It's madness. Number 7. New Jack's ECW dive. New Jack is crazy, and I say that in the nicest way possible because New Jack terrifies me. So if you're listening, New Jack, it's a compliment and you have all of my respect. All of it. It's all yours. All of his matches, however, were beyond brutal. Resembling street fights more than pro wrestling bouts, New Jack and whoever his opponent was would often batter each other with little to no remorse before Jack would try and find something to jump off. One of the crazier versions of these stunts was at ECW's 1999 pay-per-view Living Dangerously. Brawling with former tag partner Mustafa, New Jack climbed up to the upper tier of the arena and hurled himself off of it, crushing his enemy through a table. He also shattered his own ankle in the process. It's a sight that anyone will have to watch multiple times before it even starts to sink into their brain. It's unreal. Number 6. Shawn Michaels breaks his ribs. Almost. Ric Flair's retirement match at WrestleMania 24 is one of my favourites of all time because it takes your emotions and throws them all over the place as if they're not worth a damn. If you're not moved by the end of it, something is wrong with you. It wasn't just the ending that suckered you in though, it was the roller coaster of a match too, especially when Shawn Michaels thought he tried to kill himself. With Flair resting perilously on a table, HBK springboarded off the ropes and went to moonsault the Nature Boy. Not only did Rick move, however, but Shawn landed on the front edge of the table. How his ribs didn't just explode is anyone's guess. It's downright uncomfortable to watch, and I still don't understand how Michaels wasn't more seriously hurt. It's car crash TV, but you can't pull your eyes away. Number 5. Randy Orton's back becomes a pincushion. Sometimes you watch pro wrestling and just think, what the hell are these people doing to each other? Whenever thumbtacks are involved, that thought process is magnified by 10,000. It was bad enough when some schmo put one on your chair in school, but actively getting thrown into a bunch of them? That's barely sensical. Randy Orton agreed to such a spot at Backlash 2004 in his epic encounter with Mick Foley. A few could argue that it didn't make for an incredible moment. As the Viper went to hit an RKO, he instead came crashing down on what looked like thousands of pins. The look on his face is an accurate reflection of the pain he must have been in. Show this to anyone only familiar with WWE's PG product and they'll probably collapse in shock, not least because of the blood that begins to pour from Randy's skin. Number 4. Shane McMahon hits coast to coast on Vince. Wonders never cease. And somehow Shane McMahon versus Vince McMahon at WrestleMania 17 was incredible. A large reason for this was how much punishment Vince was willing to absorb, the crescendo coming when he agreed to have a trash can crushed into his face. It's not like Shane just threw it at his old man either. He sat Vince up in the corner, fixed the weapon between the ropes, and then leaped across the ring to smash it right into his father's grill. Aside from the spot itself captivating fans, it will easily raise a smile from a hater too, simply because of the impact and athleticism on show. Number 3. WrestleMania 17's TLC match. I think it's impossible to show the Dudleys versus the Hardys versus Edge and Christian at WrestleMania 17 and not impress someone. From start to finish, it's one of the most jaw-dropping, crazy matches you could ever hope to see. And even today, 15 years later, it remains a spectacle. Aside from the frenzied leaps everyone involved is willing to take, the contest itself starts at 100 miles per hour and only gets faster from there. You can't help but get caught up in it all, and it's so good and so hard-hitting, I truly believe it could convert anyone to at least trying pro wrestling for a few weeks. I mean, they'll be really confused when they tune into Raw and see the Golden Truth playing Pokemon Go. What you gonna do? Number 2. Steve Austin passes out in the Sharpshooter. Pro wrestling is at its best when it feels real. If you can completely forget what you're watching and just buy into the story being told, it doesn't matter what else is going on. You're hooked and will go along for a wonderful ride. That's what Bret Hart versus Steve Austin achieved at WrestleMania 13. The match itself is an exceptionally hard-hitting brawl that makes you take a step back and go, wait a minute, do these guys actually hate each other? And the final few minutes that focuses entirely on a bloody Stone Cold fighting for his life is beyond words. No one would ever watch this conclusion and think it was fake, because it's not. It's as real as it gets, and as worthy as any other piece of sport or entertainment in history. Number 1. Mankind and the Hell in a Cell. Show anyone Mankind versus The Undertaker from the King of the Ring 1998 and they'll instantly become a wrestling fan. Or at the very least, they'll never say a bad word about it again. How Mick Foley didn't die that night is anyone's guess, and the impact of both falls remain as death-defying today as they did back then. The first one through the table would have been enough, but seeing Mankind climb back up to take what is undoubtedly the worst of the two will never be topped. Fan, non-fan, mum, dad, sister, dog, goat, it doesn't matter who you are. This gives you a respect for pro wrestling that few other things do. It is truly brutal and the ultimate way to convert anybody.
So that was our video. Thank you for watching. Please do feel free to click on anything happening around my head or something terrible might happen to this dog. Is that you too sweeting me, bro? Ugh. Disgusting. That's really bad.